Hello YouTube, it's Championdjk coming at you again with another video, and we are going to take a look at the new to the US, I suppose, sort of, Tomica basic line of vehicles, which are now showing up only at Walmart in this interesting little carded packaging design. These cars are not really exclusive to Walmart in the fact that in other countries, or I guess if you buy them from an overseas dealer, these cars are in the Tomica basic line up. So pretty accessible, I guess, if you go to Japan. This is designed in Japan. It says ages 8+. I don't know why this would get an 8+ rating. I know there's moving parts on here, but I don't think much that you could break off. So they're constructed, I guess, somewhat similar to Hot Wheels. And we will get into that in a second. But before we get into talking about this and about the price of this and if this is a good value and all that stuff, just going to let you know that it's not the first time Tomica has been to the U.S. They did have pocket cars that were out, I think sometime in the late 70s, early 80s, probably, I want to say. I think this was an original pocket car. This is a copyright date 1977. A lot of these featured metal bodies, metal bases. This one's a little chipped up here, but it looks okay. I've got a couple of more original, older Tomicas. This one had opening doors, a race car, sweet Toyota Celica Turbo, copyright date 1979. I don't know when this actually would have came out. These were actually made in Japan. Now, these cars I don't believe are actually made in Japan. These were actually made in Japan. I believe this one's made in Japan as well. Here's a Lamborghini Countach. Just showing you some older ones that I have for my collection. This Countach is pretty cool. I think they actually still make this casting today. They might, I don't know. This one's in mint condition. This is a sweet looking Firebird. Made in Japan. Copyright date 1978. It probably came out sometime 78, 79. It's got a sticker. It's not tampoed. So, but very good version of that. I scored this one at an antique mall. These are kind of tough to find, these older Tomicas, and when you do find them, they're kind of tough to find in good shape. If you do find them in good shape, I definitely recommend picking up because they are really cool little vintage die-cast models. All right, so just to show you those were available in the U.S., I believe. I believe all of those models actually were available in the U.S. I'm not super well versed in the pocket car line in which it all came out. And by the way, if you've never seen the packaging for the pocket cars, it was a standard blister pack, but the card back was shaped like someone's pocket, like a front pocket, or like a back pocket, I think, like a back jean pocket. I don't have an example of the packaging to show you, so I can't show you it, but here this is. All right, let's go ahead and just open this up for starts. All right, the packaging is somewhat elaborate. It is a bit of a blister pack. It is actually glued onto the back side of the card. So I'll go ahead and pull it off. And it's got like another plastic insert that holds the vehicle in place here. I don't know if that fits inside of the box, but we'll definitely check it out. It's got the model itself and then a collector box. I'm a fan of the collector box in packaging. Now let's talk price point. So price point of these are $5 a piece. Okay. And what do you get for $5? We're going to kind of find it out. Does this fit in there? It does not. Okay. So we're going to toss that. So what do you get for $5? Let's go ahead and zoom in on this model. And then let's take your opinions on if you think these things are going to be a successful seller in the U.S. So you do get suspension, which is a very nice play feature. You are going to get plastic tires on all these models. You will also get a plastic base on all these models, although the plastic base does feel very thick and high quality. You will get details. You're not going to find like real crazy tampo designs. I don't think on any of these. They're going to be basic details. You got your taillights, you got your headlights. It's going to be a fairly decent replica of the vehicle. They're not going to be all in 1/64 scale. They vary in scale. This one's in 160. And copyright date of this casting is 2014, which would have been like the first time they licensed this tooling. So the opening doors, Tomica does a real good job of opening doors. Those open up and shut really nicely. $5 though. So what can you get for $5 in diecast? Well, Car Culture is what, $5.50 in the store from Hot Wheels, and Auto World is like $5 in the store at Walmart if you're lucky to find them at Walmart. And I don't honestly. My first impression of these is I do not think they're going to sell very well in the U.S. They make some pretty cool models. They put out some boring ones right away in the U.S. though. So the cool stuff, like in my opinion, so they do have some Lambos. Now these are not available at Walmart. This is stuff that I purchased from actually Hobby Link Japan. Would be these two, this Ford GT and that Lambo. Both have suspension. They all have that same plastic-based construction, metal body. Very robust construction, though. They feel very heavy for having a plastic base. This one I got at a local meet from a buddy. I don't know where he got this one from, but it's a pretty cool Lambo. This one I got from Travis, Heavy Metal 164. These are all basic range Tomicas. So there's some pretty cool cars, and there's definitely some in here that might be worth the $5 price point. I think the problem is, though, I don't think we're going to see some of the licensing sold in the U.S., which might be why they got like mostly Toyotas and stuff out right now. Here's a Dodge Viper. My buddy Crazy Todd got me this one a while back. Definitely a cool little basic Tomica model. But I think licensing might end up being the issue, part of the issue where we're not going to see many of them. They are high quality. I just don't think that this, and I'm not a marketing expert, but I do not think that this should have been the first line of Tomica cars. And I'm sorry I don't have more of the modern ones to get. I just didn't want any of them. They weren't very interesting. This was the only one that was hanging on the pegs that I wanted. Was the Subaru BRZ. I just don't think that this is the right answer to introduce the brand to the U.S. market. I don't think these are going to sell very well. Part of the reason is that you can get them fairly cheap by buying them online, the basic models. Hobby Link Japan, for example. I am not sponsored by Hobby Link Japan, but they're a good place to get these basic models. They charge usually around, I want to say $350 for the same quality diecast. Now, you're not going to get it in this fancy carded packaging. So that's one thing. If you U.S. collectors would really get over the carded packaging, these probably could come in at a bit cheaper price point. But paying for this printed material and this extra plastic when you could just get it in a cellophane wrapped box like this is how you get it in Japan. It would be just this cardboard box that would be like cellophane wrapped, and that's all the packaging it would be. You wouldn't even be able to actually see the car until you pulled it out, which nowadays really wouldn't be that big of a deal because you could just watch a YouTube video of someone opening it, right? And you'd probably find out what the car looked like. You could see pictures of it online and stuff like that. So if we'd get over the whole carded collecting, I bet you these would come in a bit cheaper, probably around the $3 to $3.50 range. And I think at that price, they would sell a bit better. It'll be interesting to see what happens. In my opinion, now Tomica has three basic lines. They've got three lines. The basic line, they've got the premium line, and they got the Tomica limited vintage line. I don't think that TLV will ever make it to the U.S. I don't think it will. It's Tomica limited vintage. I don't think they'll ever make it to the U.S. But I think what they should have done instead of this basic line, and this is just my opinion, I think they should have brought out the mid-range line, the premium line, and made it more of an adult collectible line that was sold in stores like this Lamborghini Diablo. Now, what's different from the premium line than the basic range? Well, the premium line still has plastic tires. It still has a plastic base. It's just got much more details all around. It's more highly detailed, and it's usually got moving parts as well. Like this one has the scissor doors. Now, these cars, a lot of times you will find them on eBay, and they're going to be around $15 shipped or something like that. But you can get them, like I said, Hobby Link Japan has been where I've been going. You can get these a lot cheaper at Hobby Link Japan. They're more around the $7 range. So I think if these could be imported into the U.S., possibly brought in, you could still, I know U.S. is just a card collecting culture is just what we have here in the U.S. The majority of U.S. diecast collectors are really carded collectors. So you could do it in a card with a box. If you could get this in at around a $6 price point, somewhere in there. Here's another basic model. They do have suspension as well. Some of them have lens details for headlights, so they're very detailed, very well done. Like I said, they sell them for about $7 or so on Hobby Link Japan, but then of course you got to group them together and pay for shipping and all that. And I get it, that's going to make it more expensive. But if you were to mass produce these for the U.S. market, I think it would be smart to definitely include, well, the box thing is selfish for me because I want the box. But just putting them in a blister pack, something like along those lines, selling them for about the price of a very premium Hot Wheel, like somewhere around $5.50, $6, maybe even Johnny Lightning price, those are going for like $7. And I think those are $7 at Meijer's. I think there's $6 at Walmart still. Heck, M2 is selling cars now. Then the Coca-Cola line, what are those? Like $8 a car? Yeesh. I think these type of cars would definitely be able to compete in the U.S. market. These premium line cars. I've got much more of these premium lineup cars that I could show you too. This really isn't about them. But these are awesome. Very, very nicely done. Both of these are very, very nicely done. I think they would go over great with U.S. collectors. This basic lineup, though, I just don't know. I don't think it's going to be a very hot seller. So, as always, and that's just my opinion, I will pick up a couple. If I see a cool one, I'll pick it up. This Subaru, I thought was pretty cool. So, I snagged it. It's kind of a cool car. As they put out more cars, if they put out some more cool stuff, yeah, I'll grab it. I just don't think there's going to be any real diecast collectors that are diehard diecast collectors that are really going to go nuts over these or hoard these or try to grab a lot of them or do anything like that. Unless they come out with a super hot, cool looking casting, and it might be that one-off that people like. I don't think parents are necessarily going to go for these for their children either when they can buy a basic Hot Wheel for $1. As long as basic Hot Wheels are coming in at $1 price point and basic Matchbox are coming in at $1, you're just not going to compete with that with a basic car. Majorette sort of tried to do it, being introduced into Toys R Us. And it resulted in Toys R Us going... No, I'm just kidding. It didn't result in Toys R Us going out of business. But those didn't sell super well at Toys R Us. And Toys R Us did end up having to blow those out because the price point for a plastic, tire, plastic-based car that didn't have a whole lot of detail and wasn't super proportionate to 1/64 or anything like that. Even though they were kind of cool, they were sold at like $3.50, $4, something like that. And they just weren't hot sellers because the price point just wasn't there for the U.S. collecting market. These do have cool features. I just think the price is a little high for them, and I do not think the basic line is the right choice to bring into the U.S. at this time. The way that the collector is orientated these days, I think it should have been lent towards a more detailed look with more features, and then they still could have kept a pretty decently high price point, and I think they still would have sold pretty well. That's my opinion. Someone else may totally disagree. You all might totally disagree. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, of course. I'm definitely interested in your thoughts and opinions on this new Tomica basic line showing up at Walmart. I definitely recommend pick up one, check it out, and then formulate your own opinion. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Check out my other videos and stuff. If you're new to the channel, thank you very much. If you've been a long-time watcher, thank you. And enjoy your day.